This is some seaweed I gathered earlier this week. It's been laying in the garden now for 2 or 3 days, and it's had a couple of good showers of rain on it, so hopefully that's washed all the salt off it, the external salt. Now I'm going to lay it out, and I'm going to try and chop it up, size reduce it. I've already done this with some leaves, so I know this method actually works with leaves, but I've never tried to put a lawnmower over seaweed. So we're going to try that now, so let's see if this works. If it doesn't, we have a plan B. So we'll just lay the seaweed out in between these 2 battens. The battens are there simply so that this stuff doesn't fly everywhere as it, hopefully, as it gets shredded. We'll just try this small amount for starters. If this works, we'll carry on. As I say, if it doesn't, we'll have to stop and we'll have to move to plan B. Okay, as you see, the lawnmower's gobbled it up. So I'll bring the basket down here. I'll let you see what it looks like now. Okay, we'll do a before and after. So, this is what it looked like before. Okay, I think you've got that. That's what it looked like before. And this is what it looks like now. Oh, that's shredded up. That has done the business, as they say. Okay, so no need to go to plan B, plan A works. I'll do the rest of this, I'll switch the video off now. I'll do the rest of this seaweed and then we'll take it down the garden. Okay, we'll use it. That's it, all the seaweed's done now, all shredded. All we need to do now is a tidy up. Okay. I was really pleased with the way the lawnmower handled this job. As I say, I'd never done it before, but it really did chop this stuff up. But one thing you will notice are these. These are the thicker stems from the kelp fronds. Lawnmower didn't like them, but everything else it got, so we're happy with that. Okay, so I'll just continue this tidy up, and then, as I say, we'll go down the garden. That's as much of a tidy up as you need to see. I'll switch it off and finish the job. if you're a raised bed gardener like me, you're probably in the same situation as me as we move from autumn to winter. Half the bed's got something in, half the bed hasn't. This bed used to have carrots and beetroot and spring onions in. They're long gone. This part of the bed used to have dwarf French beans in. They're long gone. And in their place I've got 2 or 3 rows of spring cabbage. Now, I've grown these before and I'm fairly confident that what these will do as winter comes on, these will stand, and then in spring, as the name implies, they will grow on to make nice cabbages, so they stay. These here are some turnips or sweets that I got given, and they are a bit late and they are too small to eat, and I'm not too sure how winter affects these, whether they do as the spring cabbage does, stands and then grow on in the spring and summer of next year, or just bolt and run to seed. I don't know what happened with those. I've never overwintered turnips before, so that's something we'll find out next year. And these here are some excellent leeks. I'm really pleased with these leeks. There's 2 short rows of leeks there. We're going to be eating those leeks shortly, but not just yet. So they have to stay, but they will be eaten. This area of ground now, but I'll bring the camera closer to this area of ground now is empty. So I'm going to build on here a small compost pile. Okay, it's hardly a compost heap. Compost heaps tend to be feet deep. This is probably only going to be inches deep. But I'm going to layer it. Okay, that's a layer of green, a layer of brown, a layer of green and a layer of brown. And to do that, I'm going to use leaves and seaweed. Now this has only got 4 or 5 months to become compost. I'm putting a lot of faith in the worms in this bed, and because this permaculture arrangement that I'm trying to achieve here is so thin, there is no chance that there'll be any heat generated here. It's just not deep enough. I realise that. But I'm on a raised bed, I haven't got any more room, I'm shoehorning this in. So if you bear with me, I'll just get the leaves that I've shredded with the lawnmower, and I'll get the seaweed that I've shredded with the lawnmower. And by a stretch of the imagination, the brown seaweed that I'm using is actually the green that's going into this, this permaculture arrangement. So the seaweed is green, the leaves are brown, alternate layers. Let's see how we get on. Okay, this is the seaweed going on. Okay, I don't know if you can notice this, but at this end of the bed now there's a board. There wasn't a board in when I had the camera running before, just so you could see the leeks a bit better, but I put that board in to make me an enclosure. Okay, I'll put a wee bit of seaweed on there, put some more on now. When I shredded that seaweed, the rest of the seaweed off camera, there was some tops from carrots and bits and pieces went in there as well, leaves from leeks, so that's what the green is. Okay, that's the green layer, this is the brown layer. These are those leaves I told you about that I'd shredded the other day using the lawnmower. Okay. It's a bit like, is it making a lasagna where everything goes on in layers? Making a cake or something where everything goes on in layers. Yeah. We'll call this lasagna compost, or can we dream up something a bit more, a bit more exotic? I've got it as we speak. Okay, right. This seaweed was delivered to me from Neptune's garden by the surf. Okay, so we've got the seaweed from the surf. Okay, stay with me on this. Right, so let me get this layer of seaweed on. That's the green matter. So we've got seaweed from the surf. Now then, these leaves, they were delivered to me by the wind. The autumn wind blew these leaves in, and there are some grass cuttings in there probably, because I did mow the lawn some time ago, and I'm fairly sure it might have finished up in here. So the leaves and the grass cuttings come from my turf. So what we got, seaweed from the surf, leaves and grass cuttings from the turf. I think we've got surf and turf compost. What do you think? Have you ever heard of that before? Surf and turf compost. Well, if you haven't heard of it before, you have now. The first place you heard it was on homegrown veg. Now, there is a video on my channel that actually shows me gathering this seaweed. In actual fact, again, it was a double whammy. I took Molly for a walk on the beach, she had a swim, and I gathered this seaweed in. So if you have a look around the channel, you'll see some footage of this seaweed being gathered. Right. Okay. Put these leaves on. I've got some more. So this is just going to stand now on this bed for the next 4 or 5 months. Okay. I'm going to take those leeks out, which will be over the next month or two. I'll move that board and I'll be able to pull the bed a bit further. I'll be able to stretch it, if you know what I mean, because it's a bit weak. And then it'll cover more ground. And then when we check this bed out, whenever that happens to be, sometime next year, some of it will compost it down. I don't suspect all of it will have, but some of it will. And all the goodness that the worms take out of this will be in that raised bed. Okay, right. I'll just pop this last bit of seaweed on, and there you've got it. Surf and turf compost. You heard it first on homegrown veg. Right. How's that? Oh, baby. Looking good. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. That's a job well done. Surf and turf compost. Permaculture. Try to copy nature. Okay, nature gave us these. Nature gave us the leaves, gave us the seaweed. All we've done is relocated it. Neptune grew that seaweed. I'm sure of it. Well, he's delivered it for me onto the shore. I bagged it up, brought it home, shredded it, mixed it with leaves that the autumn winds brought in, and now we've got some compost going on here. Like say, oh, that does over the next few months. And now it's time for a brew. Okay, let's do it.